So we've made it to the Middle Ages. I wish I had a more polished intro video for this era in the history of Christian thought because in some ways it's my favorite. We're talking about the long stretch of time between the fall or collapse of the Roman Empire around the time of Augustine, 4 to 500s-ish, to the beginnings of the Protestant Reformation in the 1500s. So it is a long stretch of time. And we're going to try to talk about all of this in just one module. So I wanted to kind of share with you the two themes or foci that I kind of chose for this module around which everything else is arranged. So the two themes are monasticism and scholasticism. A monastery, as you already know, is an intentional community of men or women who come together to live a more intensely focused religious life. Monasteries began in the ancient world, again, as you know, but they really flourished in the Middle Ages. And it was monks and nuns who copied and recopied manuscripts of books from the ancient world, who preserved knowledge, not only religious knowledge, but even scientific knowledge, mathematical knowledge. So monasteries and monastic theology and monastic thoughts is one whole area of the Middle Ages that's really, really important. So part of your work will to research and to watch at least one video on what monasticism is, and to think about whether you would like to lead that kind of a life and why it could be important today. That can be one of your discussion board topics. Again, the discussion board posts have to be done by the Canvas guidelines, so you might want to choose that for your discussion board topic. The other major theme is scholastic theology. So it was in the Middle Ages, from within Christianity, that what we today call universities began. The great universities of the modern world can trace their roots back to Christian schools in the Middle Ages. And some of the greatest thinkers within the Christian tradition, especially the Roman Catholic tradition, came from those universities. One of them was Thomas Aquinas. He lived in the 1200s. He, like other scholastic thinkers, was trying to make sense out of Christian faith. Why does it make sense to believe in God? Rational sense. Why does it make sense to think that God is a Trinity? Why does it make sense to believe in and follow the teachings of Jesus and strive for Christian virtues? Why does it make sense to believe in an afterlife? And how can we tie all these beliefs together into an organized, coherent system of thought, a structure of thought with some organization to it? That was Thomas Aquinas' big project. He wrote many works. Probably his most famous work is the Summa Theologiae. It is in 5 volumes like this. This is just one of 5 books that contain those writings, and the print is really, really small. I certainly haven't read the whole thing. I don't have enough years left in my life to read it all. But he had a contemporary, another scholastic theologian named Saint Bonaventure, whose work is probably equally great, but not as well known. Bonaventure wrote a book similar to Thomas's Summa in some ways, but much, much shorter. It's called the Breviloquium. It's about this big. And there's an English translation you can get hold of for free online. So I've assigned you to do a reading from just a part of the Breviloquium by Bonaventure. You can read the whole book if you want to. I encourage you to do so. It's like all the basics of Christian faith in about exactly 7 chapters. Everything from God and the creation of the world to our beliefs about the afterlife and the end of history. So it's like a whole book of all the basics of Christian faith. But I've selected for you the chapter on grace. Grace and the virtues that grace brings us. And when you read that, you'll see how Bonaventure, like Thomas, was piggybacking off of Aristotle's philosophy. So there are bits of Aristotle and bits of Plato in both Bonaventure and Thomas Aquinas. So again, and that can be, you've got other options for your discussion board. You can talk about grace and the spiritual life, or you can talk about the question, which is true, science or religion? because it's basically the question that Thomas Aquinas himself was wrestling with. How do we make sense out of religious faith in light of the sciences and what they tell us about the universe? So answer it for yourself. Which do you think is true, science or religion? If you think both are true, how do you make sense out of that? So those are your options for the discussion board. There is a lot in this module. There are a lot of chapters to read in the Concise History textbook, but the quiz questions are designed to help you focus in on the details that you really need. There is a lot of historical detail. Bokenkotter, the Concise History writer, really focuses on how the papacy or the Pope became so powerful through the early Middle Ages. He focuses a lot on that. So many of the details he talks about are important, but many of them are not. You don't have to know every single battle that happened in the Middle Ages and who was fighting whom. So I've designed quiz questions that will help you sift among the details you really need, or sift out the details. But I still have to go through and make sure that the questions appear in the right order in Canvas. I hope to have that done by Sunday, April 10th. And then I want, again, to create audiobooks that will guide you through the chapters if that's helpful to you. I hope to have those done no later than Wednesday, which would be, I believe, April 12th or 13th. So I'm still in the process of completing those things. Again, as always, please contact me if you have questions or need extensions. Again, the only deadlines that are absolutely firm are the discussion boards. Hope to hear from you. Enjoy the stuff in this module. It's a lot, but again, it's all kind of around those two themes of monasticism and scholastic theology. Thank you.